Okay. So I think the last time I made a video, it was probably on the 21st, I think. I mean, I could double check, but that's a lot of work and I'm lazy. But I seem to remember it being before the white coat and before orientation, which means it was about a week ago from now. So I guess I'll just talk about that. So the white coat ceremony, it went really well. It was held downtown. It was really nice. It was pretty well organized. Started at 10 a.m. All the grads lined up in a separate room. Ceremony started. We all walked to our assigned seats. And then from there, the ceremony proceeded. We got our white coats, took some pictures, and things of that nature. I'd finished probably at about noon. We were given lunch for free, which was nice. Free lunch is something I will likely never complain about. Hung out with my family afterwards. It was a good little time. So that was white coat ceremony. Not much happened after that. Thursday the 23rd was when orientation began. That one started at 8 a.m. And that one ran till about 3 p.m. And that one was a longer day. I think I still have the actual schedule for that day. We were given a packet. Pretty hefty little thing right here. Not too bad. So let me see. Yeah, in order, here's what we did. Right, so we had breakfast. Oh yeah, it started at 7:30 really. So we had breakfast, went over the student handbook, then we did introductions of ourselves. We learned about the library, financial aid, IT. Sorry. I'm just gonna mute real quick. We took a break, and then we talked to the dean, had lunch with some of the professors, talked to the clinical team, introduction and paperwork. Then we went over campus rules and procedures, which is just like student handbook stuff, aka stuff like, don't cheat, stuff like that. So that was that. We got everyone's contact information for not for students, but for faculty and stuff. So that's good to have just in case. I'm trying to make sure I don't show you guys anything. We got an unofficial schedule for school. So for when things are happening and all that kind of stuff. So that's pretty cool. I'm just looking at it now. Okay, that's fine. And then we were given our a week schedule as well. So we were given a good bit of information that day, and that was all in the packet. So very helpful that we got that. We got that once again on Thursday the 23rd. And then one of our professors wanted to have class that Friday, which is kind of abnormal, but it is what it is. So we had our ECG class that day. Started at 8 a.m. And it was just kind of an intro type of thing. Nothing super crazy. For me, it was mostly review, thankfully, but still good stuff to go ahead and get under it. And I honestly am kind of thankful that we had the first day before this week, because it was kind of a little confidence builder in that we weren't starting jumping in to the pool, right? We were able to dip in a little bit before we committed. So that was nice. And then from there, I knew some stuff I needed to study. So on the 26th, I studied, we got a long weekend because Memorial Day was on the 27th. So I was already starting to study on Sunday, which is technically before our classes even really started. So I got a head start for that. And then Monday I studied for a good little while. Tuesday 28th I studied a good bit, which was the official first day of classes. And we had one class that day. That would be the Intro to Clinical Anesthesia, which went fairly well, I'd say. Curious to see how that class turns out over time. Oh, there's some stuff on my socks for my dogs. So that was our first official day of classes. Did more studying. Today is Wednesday the 29th. I didn't study as much because there's not a ton that needs to get done today. I mainly brushed up on some classes. So specifically, I went over the ECG lecture again today, just kind of solidified a little bit more. Currently, the plan of that professor is he'll teach the lecture in class. You'll have a Kahoot on the information you just learned, which I personally don't like because I haven't had time to sit down and pick apart the information, so I feel stupid when I take the Kahoot because I am just so unexposed to the information. So if he covers a brand new topic that day and it shows up on the Kahoot, I get stressed out that I don't know it. Even though it was fresh and I shouldn't put that pressure on myself, I still do. So that was the Kahoot, did pretty good on that. Studied a little bit more after that. I have like my exact study breakdown, so if anyone ends up wanting that, I have like literally everything I was doing every single day because I am weird like that. I didn't get done as much today as I could have, but I also have tomorrow off. Thursday is a blank day for us because we needed to prepare for A&P the next day because that class is going to be a lot. So having that blank day is very helpful. But, yeah, nice to not have anything going on tomorrow, so I'm going to take that time to study some more. I'll probably clock about 4 or 5 hours of studying tomorrow. Just depends how ahead I want to get. I'm currently ahead. I'm ahead in med term. Well, I'm technically on time in med term, but I turned in my assignments 3 days early, so I've got a little breathing room there. Sorry. And then for lab specifically, I'm ahead in lab, but we have an assignment due, but it's closed currently, so I can't do it yet. I messaged a TA about that. I gotta check if we got that. For intro to clinical, I am ahead in that, but I want to brush over it again. A&P, we don't have anything going on right now. That class is on Friday, so I don't have that yet. ECG, I've got to look back over some stuff. Airway hasn't started yet, but I already did the reading for it. It was pretty dense. So overall, I'm feeling pretty okay. I think I just got a text. Okay. Yeah, oh well. So that's kind of that. As for how I'm feeling, I remember the last video was, I'm not going to say it was like doom and gloom, but it was definitely incredibly apprehensive. And I understand why I felt that way. Not knowing what's coming next is something I struggle with a lot. I like to have detailed plans. I like to know, like, all right, this is what we're doing Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I really thrive on that. So to not have that was a pretty big challenge. If you're wondering why I keep looking up and down, it's because I want to make sure I'm not flashing these. What was I about to check? That's what I was checking. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, anyway, sorry. Did I check what I wanted to check? No, not really. Yeah, okay. So, not knowing what was coming up was really stressful for me and really hard for me. It might not be hard for you, it might be even harder for you. I have no way of knowing. That's just my perspective on it. So, the good news is the white coat, I was really worried about the white coat and how it would go, like if it'd be smooth going, if it would be like a very stressful thing. It was not. Picture like a more personalized college graduation. each person is called up individually. You each put on the coat. You each get pinned. You each shake hands, and it's very much like they call person A. Person A goes up there, gets their coat, puts on their coat, gets pinned, and then they call person B, and then it's the same cycle. So it takes a little while, but it's very personal, and I feel like they do that for a reason. We also got some speeches from people, which were pretty impactful. Um, a lot of encouragement, a little bit of like, um, yes, the program's hard. You can do it. You just need to put in the work. And to me, that was good. That did help me feel a little bit better. I was honestly worried that this was going to be med school level. I still haven't taken some of my classes yet. This is still the first week, and I haven't taken like A and P yet. So it's, this could be me, like, about to jump into the deep end of the pool and I just took off my floaties. I have no idea. But I at least feel better, which I feel like is a huge win for me because I feel like mindset is a lot in this. That if you have a good mindset going into it, you know what you need to do, you know how to reach your goals, that you're going to be okay. That's just my current impression. I've been talking. Oh, another thing is I met my mentor. Actually met them on Wednesday, the 22nd, at the White Coat. They gave me some textbooks that they have, like PDFs of, which was incredibly helpful, and I'm very appreciative of that. So I shared those around with our group. But once again, that was just another small victory of, like, that's a huge concern of mine is I have no one to talk to. I feel like I'm in my own little world. Is it just me who's feeling like this? And then to have a mentor who says, hey, I was in your exact shoes 1 year ago. And here I am. I survived. I'm alive. I'm still doing good. That was a huge win for me. So I am exceedingly glad that I got to talk to him. He's a great guy. I cannot express enough how thankful I am for him. I feel like the intro period is kind of coming to a close. I feel like I've been I've slowly dipped into the water, if we're going to stick with the pool example. Slowly dipped into the water and I'm starting to tread a little bit. And that's perfectly fine. I am more than happy to tread, I just don't want to sink. So what I'm making sure I'm doing is I'm staying ahead on everything. In my agenda, which this is the agenda I buy if anyone's curious. That's the agenda I buy. In the agenda, I have the due dates for everything. I rewrite them out every single day until they get done. And I do it that way so I cannot let an assignment slip through. I check every due date for every assignment every single day. And it takes about 10 minutes for me to fully fill out my to-do list. And in my opinion, that is time well spent. I'm going to continue to do that. I've got to update it a little bit because some of the things have been changing. We have a new professor. She seems great. She is a little daunting in some respects, but I'll see how that ends up developing. I mean, there's obviously going to be a period of getting used to all of the professors, and because she is a newer professor, she's going to have to get used to teaching. We're going to have to get used to her teaching, so it's just this balancing act. I went through that kind of thing in undergrad as well, so I kind of know how that goes. It's just a little bit tedious, and it's just one more thing to worry about, so I'm going to do my best to not worry about it. She hasn't given me a big reason to worry about it yet, so I've got a reasonable plan for that. But so far, I'd say things are going pretty well. I do recognize that at some point my prior knowledge is going to expire. Not in the sense of it will no longer be useful, but we will be advancing beyond the scope of what I already know. Med term, we're kind of getting there a little bit. We're a little more specific than I went in undergrad. Lab was not an undergrad thing for me. at least in terms of the lab we're doing here. This lab is strictly anesthesia lab, so the first lab was just an intro to lab type thing. Intro to Clin is basically all new. We've basically learned about um, how the OR works and the history of anesthesia and if it's blue, don't touch it type of things. A and P haven't done it yet. You'll have to hear that from me later. ECG, we are already beyond my past knowledge. I already knew about like P, Q, or ST, what each of them meant, and then like the ion movement during an action potential and during a muscle contraction. But in terms of how to read an ECG, EKG, which those are the same thing if you didn't know. In terms of how to read one, I never went over that in undergrad at all. So that is all new information. Basically starting, let's see, we had class with him, what day was that? It was Tuesday. No. Was that today? That was today, yeah. Oof. I had class with that today, so that's all new information starting today. Airway haven't started yet, but that's probably all going to be brand new to me, except for maybe the anatomy portion of that in terms of like trachea, larynx, nasopharynx, and all that kind of stuff. Epiglottis, all that fun stuff. So, in terms of mindset, I guess you could say I'm kind of bracing myself, at least in terms of I know it's going to get harder. I haven't taken A and P yet. I haven't taken a couple of the classes yet. I know it's going to get harder, so I need to stay on this roll. I need to recognize that I am ahead right now, and it's a great spot to be in. I need to stay there for as long as possible. And in order to stay ahead, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep studying. So far, let me count real quick. This week alone, alright, so let me pull up a calculator real quick, because I would want to know this number. So, on the 26th, I studied for about 2 or 3 hours, so we'll call it 2.5. Monday, I studied for about 4 hours. Let's see, this is Tuesday, I studied for 4 hours again. This is excluding in-class time, by the way. Today was 2 hours, 45 minutes. And that's excluding class time again. So currently, I have done 13.25 hours of studying so far. Nothing crazy, I don't feel like. I feel like that's a reasonable amount. Considering it's still the first week of classes, I do expect that number to go up slightly, but I also recognize that my studying is a little inefficient at the moment. I keep getting distracted. I keep getting on little side tangents that I could do better about. And that's not just time like sitting at my desk checking my phone. I made sure that was only active studying time. So if I checked my phone for 30 minutes, zoned out, and, like, oh, crap, I made sure I subtracted that time. So that's 13.25 hours of active studying so far. For me, studying goes by like driving on a road trip. If you're constantly checking the clock, you're going to feel like it is taking forever, and 5 minutes is going to feel like a lifetime. But if you can just go with the flow, just sit back, watch the road ahead of you, don't check the clock, don't change the music, just keep going on the road ahead of you, you'll blink and an hour's gone. And I hate to say it, but I kind of enjoy that. Feels like it makes my life a lot easier. So, just active studying. If you see a word you don't know, make sure you look it up. Come up with questions to ask yourself, how could this be worded on an exam? What's the key point of this? So if they're having you read, I don't know, maybe 60 pages of a textbook, what's the important part? What are they trying to get at? If it's 60 pages about OR safety, you don't really need to know the entire nitty-gritty on how an OR fire can start. It's important information, but it's important to just recognize the risks that all of them have in common. Mind you, I haven't been tested on that, so for all I know, I need to know all of that, and that's worrying. But at the end of the day, you can't memorize every single contingency, so I'm just trying to paint with broad strokes and get the general idea and fill in gaps as I go. So that's kind of my goal at the moment. Yeah, I kind of wish that you guys were like actually talking, so I could like if you guys had a question, I could answer it. But beyond that, everything seems pretty straightforward so far. This is still the tip of the iceberg. A&P is probably going to be the hardest class. EKG is supposed to be the number 2 class, and I currently feel comfortable in that, mainly because I am ahead. So I know that I gotta stay on that, and I'm gonna try to do my best for A&P, but nothing's posted for that yet, so we'll just have to see how that goes. So, yeah, it'll be an adventure regardless. But it's an adventure I'm ready for. I know what I have to do, and I'm gonna stick to it. As for when the next update video will be released, or will be recorded rather, these aren't getting released till I have no idea when. When will next one be recorded? I'm probably going to do it next week, honestly. So this is the week of the 26th, so it will probably be in the week of June 2nd is sometime when it'll be. So, yep, that'll be what that looks like. And then from there, I'm probably just going to try to do a video every week, and we'll just have to see how that goes and if I can stick to it. So once again, even though these aren't going to be posted day of, if you have any questions about what this is like, things of that nature, then leave it a comment, and I will do my best to get back to you. I may or may not end up making an email available. I'll just have to see. If I do, it'll be in the video description. So if there's not an email there, then just leave a comment. I figure this is about as pros as I can make it, I guess. I want there to be authenticity covering this. I feel like that's something that is missed on YouTube and many platforms like this. A lot of it is glamorized, a lot of it's showy or exaggerated, like the how I study for 15 hours a day as a med student. I highly doubt they're doing that 5 to 6 days a week. I can't imagine doing that. I can't imagine that's a realistic goal for someone to have. So I'm just trying to set the goals as clear as possible from as honest of a source as possible. So, I make no money off this. If I have the chance to make money, I'm going to decline it because I just want it to be what it is. So, I'm making the videos I wish I had. I'll put it like that. So, yeah. Other than that, I will go ahead and end this video here. So, take care. Uh-oh. I pressed the wrong button. There we go. Now I'm going to leave it. Alright. Adios.